Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing glue beds, what they are, what you need to do one, and then finally the tutorial on how to do one. When I say glue bed, all we're talking about is clear glue. We take our dye that's going to be mixed with a solvent, in this case acetone, and then we drop it on top of the clear glue, and then we set our disc on top, and that dye is then taken in by the disc. Some of the things you're gonna need. Some of you might have bought the kit, and the kit does come with essentially everything you need. You will have to get acetone and clear glue, and those are pretty easy to find. The clear glue, you could just go to Walmart and get the gallon of Elmer's glue, and then the acetone you could also get at Walmart, or you could go to any hardware store and find that. You can get the little can or the big can like I have here. The little can is fine. That's plenty for what we're going to need for this. If you don't have the kit, we'll kind of go through the things that you're going to need. So first off, a bed. So the kit comes with one of these. The only upgrade I would make to the kit, maybe going and getting an Ultimate Frisbee. They're just a little bit deeper, so you don't have to worry about overflow as much. I wanted to make the kit as affordable as possible, and these were the easiest things to get in bulk. These work fine. You don't have to go get one. That's just a recommendation. So you will need a bed. You will need dye, and we have a ton of kits on discdyeing.com that you can go find. Different color kits, hot colors, bold colors, basic colors, you name it, it's on there. I like to have like a little scooper. If you bought the Daddy Mac Dyes kit, you don't need the scoop. You get like the bigger containers like these. It's nice to have one of these. You will need droppers. I have some of these glass droppers. That's just what I've had the whole time I've been dyeing. But in the kits, these work just fine. I have these on the site as well. You can buy 10 packs of these. A skewer. I use these to rake the beds. A color palette. These I included in the kit also. It's nice to have the color palette so you can mix colors together and get different variations of that color or mix new colors. Gloves I recommend for sure so you don't dye your hands. And then I also put a syringe in there for two reasons. One is I use this to draw acetone out of the container and then put into the bottles. Once I'm done with that and it has been thoroughly cleaned, you can take the plunger out, and then I actually use this to move the bed around with airflow, just like that. That is pretty much it. On the website, I do have 2-ounce bottles, 6 packs, I believe, and 10 packs for sale, or you can get them individually if you just want a couple. Those are nice Nalgene chemical resistant bottles. Put on dirty clothes. You can see I have my grubby clothes on because you never know what's going to happen. Also, some newspaper or something like that you can lay down just in case, because if you do spill dye, it will get everywhere, and at least if you have something down, that'll help soak it up. The next thing you want to think about is plastic. White premium plastic is going to work the best. There are some exceptions to that rule, but you want to stay in the line of like Innovastar, Discraft ESP, Dynamic Disc Lucid, Infusion, Opto, Gold. All those are going to dye much better. Prodigy 400 and up, you're going to get the best results using that style of plastic. You can dye other colors, but you're going to have to remember that, if you have a blue disc and you put yellow on it, you're going to get kind of green. So you're going to need to watch out for what color disc and then what colors you're going to make by putting certain colors over top of that. So once you have your disc selected, we're going to talk about washing the disc. A lot of these companies, they use a silicone spray that goes in the mold to help release it from the mold once it's done. You're going to want to wash that off, or you're going to get streaks and the dye's not going to penetrate where that silicone is. Today I'm going to go over what just works for me. I've heard of different ways to do this, but me personally, this is what's worked best. I simply just use my magic eraser and warm water, and then I firmly just go around the disc. I get the edge, especially on like this Baobab and birds. You want to get that edge, and then just small circles, just like that, and then rinse it off, and I'm all done. We've discussed what we need, we've selected a disc, we've washed it off. Now we're going to move on to mixing our dye mixes. If you are using the kit, I've made it super simple. You don't have to worry about ratios. We're just going to use the entire packet of dye for the 2-ounce bottle of acetone. If you aren't using the kit, I don't have a specific ratio, but I'll use about a tablespoon of dye to 4 ounces of acetone. If you are using the kit, here's what I'll recommend. I would put the acetone in the bottle first. Then you're going to take your packet, cut the corner off, and then you can just pour it right in there and not have to worry about spilling anything. The reason I do the acetone first is if you put the powder dye in there and then let's say use the syringe to squirt the acetone in, you could get some splash out and dye, you know, all over the place. So I would recommend doing the acetone first. There's a few simple ways to do that. If you have the small container, you can probably just pour directly in. If you have one of these larger containers, you can either pour it into a small one, just make sure whatever container you pour it in is chemical safe, or you can take one of these syringes and I draw it straight out and then just squirt it in. Once you have your acetone and your dye together, you're going to want to shake that up real well. Now, you're probably going to have some sediment in the bottom, and that's fine. I do that to make sure I'm getting full color. I'd rather have too much dye in there than not enough. So now that we have everything mixed up, we're going to move on to pouring the glue bed. What I've done is I've gone ahead and gone around my glue bed with a Sharpie and just made some marks for where I want my glue level at. For the actual glue, like I said, you could go to Walmart and just grab a gallon of Elmer's clear glue. You can order it online. I get mine from Discount School Supply. The only glue I would stay away from, Oriental Trading Company. I have had issues with that glue in the past with the dye spreading too fast and dispersing over the top too quickly. So it's a little harder to control. But the Elmer's I've had plenty of great experience with, as well as the coloration. So now we're going to move the camera into position, and I'll just show you real quick the pour into the bed. Nice and smooth, keeping a steady stream, and you'll notice there are no bubbles forming in this one, and we're just going to go until we hit those lines. The reason I make those marks is just so I don't get any overflow. If you do get bubbles, there is a way to get them out using either a creme brulee torch or a blowtorch, and just going real lightly over the top of the bed, and that'll pop those bubbles. One of the things you obviously want to remember is do not have your acetone bottles open or around an open flame. Safety third. Before we begin the actual dye process, I think it's a good idea to just take a look at the color wheel if you haven't, or if you're not familiar with it. It's good to know what colors clash with what other colors, what are complementary colors, and what colors you can mix to make other colors. So if you have a few minutes before you start, I definitely recommend taking a look at the color wheel. What you have here is my very basic setup. I like to keep my black on one side, my colors and my color palette on the other side, just so I don't get any mix up with my black. The only other thing is, you know, I would keep your droppers separated with their colors, so red with red, green with green, black with black, you know, blue and blue, so on and so forth. With the kit, you have 6 different colors, so it shouldn't be too hard to keep those separated. So starting off, before you start dropping anything, you really should have an idea of what you want to do. This is where you get really creative and have fun with it. It's better to have an idea before you start putting color on. That way you don't get halfway through and then kind of you're second guessing yourself, and then you mess up the bed entirely, or doing something that you don't want to do because you didn't know what you were going to do to start off with. So yeah, I think it's a great idea to have that design in your head already, so that way you're not fumbling around and then the dye is dispersing and you're trying to figure out what color to do next. If you have to, sketch it out if you want to. Get a blank piece of paper and some markers or colored pencils and just get an idea of what you want before you start. All right, so for my bed today, I'm going to do reds and greens. We're going to do kind of a half and half, a little bit of a swirl in there, but I'm going to show you how to work with the with not only the skewer, but then maneuvering the bed around with the tip of the syringe. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to lay a black stripe along the middle, and then I'm going to tighten that up using the syringe and airflow to blow that together. After I do that, then I'm going to do red on one side and green on the other. What we're going to do first, though, is we're going to mix up some colors in our tray so that they're all set and ready to go. So I have Neon Lemon Zest and my Key Lime, but I kind of want some darker greens in there, so I'm just going to get a little bit of green right? That's how much is in there. And I'm just going to squirt that in my green cup there. And then I'm just going to do 1 to 2 drops of black, all right? After I do that, I can kind of suck it up in there and then squirt it back down in. And then I have my darker green mixed up. I'm going to do the same thing with red. Just going to get some in there. Squirt it over here in the red cup. Couple of drops of black, and that's going to darken that up. And now you can do the same thing with just clear acetone too, if you want to add just some clear acetone, and that'll lighten the color up so you can get some lighter hues. All right, so I got my greens and my reds ready to go. So I'm going to start with black and just do this, right, keeping it all together, no gaps in there. So we have a nice solid line. And now I'm just going to take my syringe and then I can turn it until I've blown it and have where I want it. My table isn't exactly level, so the glue will kind of move. So if I go back to my original position, it'll fall back to the middle. Once I get that all set, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do my green on this side, and I'm gonna make sure I'm dropping far enough away that it's not overtaking the black, right? So, if I drop too close to that black line, it's going to overtake to the other side, and if I'm too far away, there's going to be a clear gap. So just close enough that it fades, maybe about a half, 3/4 of an inch away from that line. Now I'm going to take some of my darker green and put a few drops in there. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my reds here. Get some red down. And just fill this area in. Some people are super precise. I'll be honest with you, I'm not. I kind of flood the bed with color. And now I'm just going to get some of my darker red in there. That's how I get a lot of depth in my dyes, is having multiple different shades of the same color is going to give you that depth. So now we're going to take our skewer, and again, this is where you just kind of have fun with it and play. I'm going to do just like a little few swipes here, and then you can do them thin, or if you tilt it, you can really move some of this color around. All right, just like that. Take my paper towel and wipe the end of my skewer off, and then I'm going to go back and just kind of do some of those thin swirls like I was telling you about, just to give some flow to the bed. And so you don't have just these straight drop marks. You have this nice mix and flow of color. Okay. Once you've done that, you can grab the end of your syringe. And I'm just going to go in here and just move some stuff around. All right, I think I pretty much have everything where I want it. I'm actually going to go drop a little bit of some Neon Lemon Zest right in here. I'm going to do the same thing right here, just for a little more color variation. And I'll go back and just kind of do the same thing, get a little flow with that color. And now we are ready to put the disc in the bed. This part, again, not super tough, but we are just going to start from one side and go to the other. This Baobab kind of has a little a little lip on the top of the disc you can see there. You know, a Berg also has that too. So you just want to make sure you're laying from one side of the disc to the other. So nice and slow. I'm just going to go in, set it down, and now we are all set. All right, welcome back to day 2. We're going to go over a couple things real quick. First off, I know I'm wearing the same clothes as yesterday. That is just the perks of working from home. During the pandemic, I got a taste of what it felt like to wear sweatpants all the time, and I'll be honest, I don't ever want to go back to anything else. All right, so we're going to get into cleaning the disc. Once we have it all cleaned off, we're going to put it on the record player and spin the edge, and then after that, I'll put my stamp on it, and we'll be all done. All right, let's go over to the sink. So first things first, I would recommend getting your water as hot as possible that you can put your hands in. That just makes it easier, makes the glue dissolve a lot quicker. Some things you might need is possibly, you know, an old gift card, credit card, something like that. We do sell these squeegees at discdog.com, and then just an old sponge that you don't wash dishes with, and like a paper towel. First thing I'm going to do is pull the disc out and get the excess glue off the disc and into the bed. Some of the dried glue just hanging on there. Alright, stick that in the sink. And then the rest of the bed just goes in the trash. And then just with hot water, we're just going to wash any remaining glue off the disc. And while you're doing that, make sure to go around the rim of the disc and just check. A lot of times glue likes to dry and stick there. So you can see we got some there. We can just peel it right off and throw it away. And then just clean ourselves, and you can kind of feel the glue if there's any left on there. Just clean this, wash the rest of that off, set that aside, wash out our bed, and that will be all. All right, there you go. That's it. Man, this thing came out great. I mean, all the different shades of red we got, the key lime and the dark green and neon lemon zest. I mean, it's ready to go. It's ready to be thrown. I'm gonna go through the process of how I finish discs off, and that's just being that I was an art major for years, and that's kind of how you finish off a piece of work, is frame it in. So I'm gonna put a spin border around the edge. You know, you don't have to. This is all up to you and what you have at your disposal. But we're going to go through real quick just how I finish it off. Alright, first thing we're going to do is center the disc up. Now I don't use this record player anymore, so it doesn't have a needle or anything on it. I just use the arm here and the back of my brush, and I just slowly touch it and just kind of press it into place. And there we go. We're all centered up. The next thing I'm going to do is come in here with my Onyx Black and just start right at the bottom of the color. And I'm just going to let that go a few rotations. And then after it's gone a few rotations, I'm going to slowly just lift the brush up. And what happens is the dye will slowly run out, and we get kind of our nice little fade in there. All right, and that's it, man. Okay, once I've done that, I'm just going to take my denatured alcohol here. I'm going to put a little bit on a cotton ball, and then I'm just going to go right around the edge of the disc just to get any extra dye off of there. And also that helps put that blend and fade in. Alright, And now, there you go. She is all done and ready to get stamps. And that's a wrap. Guys, I hope you learned something. I hope this helped. If you got a kit, thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Now show me what you can do. I want to see what you come up with. Tag me in any of the posts. Daddy Mac Dies on Instagram and discdying.com. We'd love to see what you come up with. If you haven't got a kit and you're interested, just head on over to daddymacdies.com and discdying.com, and we'll take care of you over there. We got a bunch of other disc dying supplies. And now it is time for me to get back to work. I got a bunch of discs to stamp. Thank you guys again. Talk to you soon.